Honestly, I wear this outfit so much, and I'm so sorry for that, but I only have like 3 looks that I like hardcore pull off in. I love this jacket, so I'm just an outfit repeater.
Lizzie McGuire, you are an outfit repeater.
Hello everybody, my name's Allison and I am a YA fantasy writer. If you're new here, welcome to Wonderland. We talk about books and just fandom kind of stuff on my channel, and also writing because I'm a writer. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is writing realistic characters, because I find that this is really easy for me, but for some people it's not. So I want to give you my tips of why am I using my hands so much today? I don't know. I'm just in a really happy mood today. But we are going to be talking about realistic characters. I have 5 tips for you on how to write realistic characters. If you're new here and you like my video or you want to join the Wonderland fam, just hit that red subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload, because YouTube doesn't like to put stuff in subscription boxes anymore. I don't know, but hit that little notification bell, that way you know when I upload, and also give this video a thumbs up so I know you like these types of writing tip videos. My first tip is to make a character background chart. Now I'm going to be doing an entire video dedicated to this, but I'm trying to get it all together because my files on my computer somehow went exploded and just went in 20 different spots. So I'm trying to put everything back together like my life. I'm just trying to hone it back in, and that way I can show you guys how I do that. But right now it's just kind of crazy. But I do a character chart more in Word and online, more so than on a piece of paper, because I don't have room to put a piece of paper in my room. And also I do a lot of on-the-go writing, so at school or in coffee shops I just like to do writing outside of the house. I know not everyone's like that, but I like to have it electronically then, and I literally go into so many details, it's kind of ridiculous. And so I'm going to be doing a whole video, and when I do have that I will link it down below, or it will be on my channel, where I'll put it in the iCard. So you'll be able to find it. It should be coming out in the next couple weeks. I have pre-filmed videos that are going up in the next 2 weeks. And they're more bookish related videos and 2019 goals, because 2019 is almost here, which is crazy. But yeah, I will be making a whole video. On how to make a character chart, but this is essential to writing realistic characters, because when you're writing those characters, if you don't have the background or you don't have the exact way, I want to say they look or different things, it gets muddled in the text. One page they'll have green eyes and the next page they'll have blue eyes. So it's just really good to learn your characters, and they get to tell you hey, I am this, this, and this, and it just really lays it out for you. Plus, I've recently found out a lot of people have been doing the Myers-Briggs test for their characters, which I find so interesting. I haven't tried it, but that's another thing you could put on your character chart. My second tip is to give your characters a goal, a purpose, or a motivation. And this really, I know it sounds duh, that's what a story is, but a lot of times when I beta read or critique read, the overall story has a goal, but the character isn't necessarily in that goal. It is, they're working towards this goal, but they seem distant from the goal. So let's just use an example. I'll use my main character in Dark Radiance, Liliana Caldwell. She gets to a small town. Her main goal through the entire book, her number one goal, is to find out why everyone in the town knows more about her than she does. That is her main goal. And also to survive this town, because shit is hitting the fan. But her main goal is to find out why and find out her past that she doesn't even know. So that's what I'm saying. You want your character to have a hard core goal. So if they are trying to defeat the emperor, I don't know why I'm thinking of like Mulan over here, but defeat the emperor, that's a long-term goal, but they can also have short-term goals. So Liliana also has short-term goals, as in to find a medallion, to find a journal that she's been told to find. So you can have those short-term goals, but you really want them to have that goal, the motivation, and motivation more so as in like why they're fighting for this. Because I find in a lot of YA, like, yeah, we are fighting to defeat the bad guy. Like, yeah, everyone's fighting for that, but why are we fighting for that? Is it because we want to save civilization? Is it because we want to save our family? Is it because we want to save the person we love? I think a really good motivation that I've seen in YA fiction is from The Hunger Games. Katniss's main goal through that entire trilogy is to keep Prim safe. And she wants to keep her sister safe. That's why she volunteers in the Hunger Games. That's why she does everything she does in the arena, and that's why she stands up to President Snow. That's why even when Snow threatens her family, she's very quick to have that motivation, like, I want to protect Prim. I need to protect Prim because no one else is going to do that. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like I went on like 20 rambles on that one, but if it doesn't, let me know down in the comments. But just make sure your character is grounded as like a real person, because all of us have motivations, all of us have goals we want to reach. Maybe it's not to like defeat the evil emperor, but like we all need have those things, and that's what makes characters relatable as well. Number 3 is fears, flaws, and vulnerability. You have to give these to your characters. I understand. You want your character to be badass. You want them to be cool and slick and everything. But if these characters don't show vulnerabilities or fear ever, they're not realistic. They're just a robot to me. That's my personal opinion, because everyone has fears. Everyone is vulnerable in some sort of way. And if you don't place those in the story, it just negates everything that you've already built, from your character chart to their motivations and their fears, or motivations and their purposes. Because a lot of times their fears will connect to their purpose or their motivation. Like Katniss. Her fear is for Prim to get hurt, and to save her, she volunteers for the Hunger Games. She has a purpose to doing that, a motivation to do that. But she has a fear that goes along with that she doesn't want Prim to get hurt in the Hunger Games. So I think that's really important to put in. I think that when a character never shows a serious emotion, like they never cry, they never have that breaking point, then they're not realistic to me. So I think that every character needs a breakdown moment, or even a moment that it's like in their head it clicks and they're like, oh my gosh, I could lose everything from this, and they tell the reader that, or they show the reader that, and then the reader connects with them more. I also feel like fear, vulnerability, and emotions really help pull in a reader and grasp them and be like, hey, we all are like this. Even make-believe characters, we're all vulnerable and we're all human, even if you're like a cyborg. I don't know. Like, even if you are some alien creature, we all have these instincts to protect and be fearful for our lives, or our family's lives, or our loved ones' lives. It's really just making sure that these fears and vulnerabilities are shown. And I think I always use Katniss as an example with everything, even when I'm talking to someone about it, just because I think Katniss is a really strong character, and I think that's what makes her character really play even in not only in books but also in film. Jennifer Lawrence did an amazing job. That scene with the cat in Mockingjay Part 2, that is the vulnerability I want, and that's the fear. And I gotta watch The Hunger Games again now. My fourth tip in writing relatable characters is honestly relatability is what I wrote down. Make your characters relatable in some way. Sure, they are these badass demon-killing people, but they still have pancake breakfast. They still have a computer in their institute. I'm totally using Lady Midnight because that's what I'm reading right now, or rereading, I should say. Sure, they still go to a diner. They still have tests in their Shadowhunter Academy Institute thing. Like, make your characters have those relatable things. I mean, sure, the world's come to an end, but the character is still worried about little things that we worry about in those adolescent years. Like, does this boy like me? I don't care if there's zombies running around. I'm worried about if this boy likes me and if I'm making a fool of myself and if I'm doing this, because even if there was an apocalypse or even if you're in a fantasy world, you still have those characteristics as a person. And I think that's really important, especially in sci-fi and fantasy, to include those into your character, because if you don't, we're all just gonna be like, I can't relate to this character. They are so out of this world that I feel like it's just like over my head, and then people aren't gonna like pull into that character and be like, I feel for them so much. So really try to make them relatable. If they go to school, they don't have to go to school the whole entire book, but make sure you mention like why they're not going to school, or if they go to school sometimes, or if they're ditchers, or, you know, just normal teenage things. And my fifth and final tip for this video is find your character's voice or language. So this may take a while. This may take 1 or 2 drafts to find out how your character talks, how they interact with people, different quirky sayings they have, or other characters have towards them. So don't worry if you don't have this right away, because it comes with time as you interact with these characters in your mind, as you continue to learn about them, and continue to build on all of those things I just said, you'll find their voice. I'm going to use one example from Dark Radiance. His name is Finley, and he is a redhead, and he's fiery, and he's just kind of a dark character, not necessarily evil, but he is very dark, and the way he speaks is very sarcastic and very manipulative, I want to say. He's just kind of like that snarky character that, I mean, I love him. And his one saying that he uses towards my MC is darling. He calls her darling every single chance he can, and it drives my MC crazy. But that's kind of a thing. You always remember Finley as saying something darling and just taunting with darling. And I think it's really important when you have that little thing. When you think of, if I were to say, hey, think of Finley Blackburn, what would you think of? Oh, he is the one that is always like patronizing everyone with darling or doll, or he just has like those little nicknames. And a lot of my characters in Dark Radiance do have their own little thing. And so yeah, that's my main tip, is if there's a character that hasn't found their language or their voice, really dig deep and like have a heart-to-heart with them and be like, listen homie, we gotta figure out where you're supposed to be, because I don't want to cut you, but like you're gonna get cut out of the book if you don't like man up and figure out what you're doing. So that's my main tip about finding their language, just having those quirky little things that you could pick out and be like, this is what this character is, this is what this character is. And not all of the characters have to have that, but I would say main characters or like prominent like ensemble characters should really have that distinct, like, if I didn't put Mallory said or Finley said, you would still know who's talking, in the conversation just by the way that they speak and the way that they interact with different characters. So those are my 5 tips I have for writing grounded characters. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe holiday season, and I will see you next time in Wonderland, loves. Bye!